Hello, fellow book-loving friends. Thank you for joining me for Spill the Tea with Dee Book Chat. My name is Dee Armstrong. I'm a writer, book lover, teaholic, gardening ninja, and my grandma name is Lolly. Now, I have a new person here today. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm her son, Connor.
And I'm Dawn. I am his girlfriend.
And what do you do?
We are EMTs in an emergency department.
We work in an emergency department, paramedic and volunteer.
Yep. So I want to thank them for coming. Casey couldn't be here today, and she usually runs the laptop, so I'm going to be running the laptop today, so we might be a little computer challenged. Say hello in the chat, please, so I can enter you in the drawings. Today we're spilling on Before She Disappeared by Lisa Gardner, and I have 2 copies to give away. One is a signed copy, and one, here, I'll let you be Vanna, and one is not, but still the book.
Yep.
And the signed copy comes in this beautiful, it's all covered and beautiful. Now, if you have looked for the book, the hardcover is one, what's it called? The front of the book. I've lost what I'm saying. The front of the book is different for the hardcover and for the regular, stock cover. Thank you. And then I also have, I'm going to do something different this time, and I'm going to let you have a signed copy of your choice of my books. We do a grand winner and a runner-up. Let's talk about, thank you, Miss Vanna. See how good she is. Let's talk about Before She Disappeared, an instant New York Times bestseller. God, I would love to have that happen for me. An instant New York Times bestseller. And according to the Washington Post, one of the most original characters in recent crime fiction. It is Lisa Gardner's first standalone novel in 20 years. But I really think it's going to be a series. She set it up for one. You can tell that, I'm thinking that in each book she's going to call Paul's widow, and she set up a lot of things in there that I think that will continue throughout each book. A quick recap. Set in Mattapan's Haitian community in Boston, Frankie Elkin is a recovering alcoholic. She's not a police officer, not a PI. She's a middle-aged woman who searches for missing people. And she's searching for Angelique Baudot, a Haitian teenager who vanished from her high school 11 months earlier. What I thought was really funny is that she's a recovering alcoholic, and where does she work?
She works in a bar. She works and lives in a bar, which is the interesting part because she's working for a room and board. Not room and board, room.
Yeah, so I thought that was funny. I learned a whole bunch about Alcoholics Anonymous in this book. And all I kept thinking was, I need a weight loss anonymous where I can go to a meeting at midnight at 3 o'clock, donut time.
Idea.
I'm looking to make brownies. I just need support.
That's what I need, yeah. All right, now don't cheat and look at who my favorite character is. Who was your favorite character, Dawana?
So I actually looked at your favorite character, and it was one of my favorite
Okay,
characters.
go ahead, honey.
But
I put 2 up there so I can pick the other one.
Okay. So my favorite was Piper the cat. I'm a cat lady, and I just thought that she added some really good depth to the book, and then I also thought that she kind of did a really good job of painting a picture of what type of community they were in. She killed rats, and then she also was a tough but kind of sort of loving type cat, so it was reflective of Frankie, and I don't know, I just kind of liked it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Who is your favorite?
I liked Stoney, the owner of the bar, who didn't
Stoney.
really talk a lot, and when he did, he said 1 or 2 words that were very important. I also liked the chef of the bar, Viv, who was kind of the opposite of Stoney. She was really open. She was really funny. She had a lot of rapport with everybody, but you could definitely tell that they were definitely a big part of the community.
Yeah, I did. I like them both. I loved the cat, Piper, who leaves mouse guts as a way to say, I like you and I love you, who slashes your Achilles heel if you aren't quick enough to get out of bed. I thought she was awesome. But I also really loved Angelique's brother, Emmanuel. He was cute little computer geek who loved his sister, and he was smart as heck. Who in the chat, I'm going to try to keep up with the chat. If you guys, who do you think is your favorite character? What part made your heart race? I love how Connor thinks about it. Let me really think about this.
Yeah, at the beginning of the book, she talked about her first night of walking around and how she was uncomfortable in the environment because she felt like she was going to get robbed or stabbed. And she talked about how she, because of that feeling and because she's lived in bad neighborhoods with her job, she went around with like a flip phone and like $20. So she'd have nothing for people to take. I feel like she did a really good job of describing unease of the environment, which was lit by breaking lights, and so they flickered on and off, and there was a point where she was just going through a neighborhood where none of them worked, and she felt uneasy. I like that. I feel like that was the part that made my heart race the most, just because, I mean, it was a feeling that everyone's had, where it's like, I feel weird.
Feel a little uncomfortable, definitely. How about you, Dewana?
Mine was when she went to visit, I think the girl's name was Lydia, her mom, at the very end. And then just Lydia's just, there again in a not really safe area. And Lydia's mom just like trying to push her out and tell her to leave. Like, this isn't safe. You need to leave. And then she's running away and like getting shot at. And so, I mean, I'm like, she's speaking in first person, like she can't die.
The book could be over.
Exactly.
And I know there's still pages left.
But I mean, they did a really good job of kind of capturing the excitement in that moment.
How heartbreaking would it be to have to tell another woman that your home is not safe for women?
Yeah.
And to push them out the back door. I just thought that was really sad.
Yeah. For sure.
The parts that made my heart race is kind of like Connor. Every time Frankie went out after midnight, roamed the streets, or went to an AA meeting, all I could think of is, why are you going to an AA meeting at midnight?
Yeah.
I mean, but if you have to, if you need help so that you don't drink, I guess midnight is the best time. But I kept thinking, here we go, she's going to get her butt kicked. Here we go, she's going to get her butt kicked. And
she also talked about how she was walking around Boston with a map. And how she she needed to avoid looking at the map when she was in public, and how at one point she kind of walked in this other girl's path so that they would seem like a group, which I thought was a good way to actually show that she's thinking about it and not just, and maybe a little bit more realistic. So it's not like, hey, I'm gonna go rob someone. I'm definitely gonna rob the person that doesn't know where they are.
That's looking down at their phone.
It's like, hey, there's a donut place, and you're like, no, you don't hear that.
Definitely. And did you notice, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I looked for, she had those combs that she put in her hair that they were called tactical combs, and she used them in the end of the book to get into the youth center. And Lisa Gardner planted those combs in the beginning of the book, told you about them in the beginning of the book. So I thought, okay, I had to look out for that. Do you have a favorite part of the book?
My favorite part was when she first went to the school and started talking to people and started picking up on clues. I personally really liked all the dialogue in the book and when she was actively doing stuff. So I liked her, you could tell that she was looking at things and thinking it through. She was looking for the cameras, see where their blind spot was, because that's what the kids would do if they're trying to not get in trouble. And she knew that the police, if she was on a camera, they would have seen it. So she was like, this is where the blind spot is, I need the bush, and this is where the bush was. That you could tell people throw a lot of stuff under there because stuff doesn't grow. So I liked that. That was my favorite part, just because it was something you had to think about too.
Like that. My favorite part was when they had gone in to her laptop and found a paper that she had submitted.
Oh, yeah.
And they were asking the brother about it. They're reading through it, and they figure out that she had left clues in it. And there was like this kind of cipher that the brother and sister had that, not Lydia, but Angelique and her brother had before she went missing, and that he was able to kind of go through and like decipher what she was saying, because it showed like what an important role that the family had in the investigation, and then also, I don't know, that's just such a cool thing that they had when they were kids. So I don't know, I like that part.
I have to admit that my best friend Leah and I had a secret cipher.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and you're gonna enjoy this. Stop laughing at me,
Such an old
Carmen.
person thing to do.
And it was actually off sign language.
Oh really?
Yes. So we took like if you go with G, G was an arrow. Well, see, Leah, I'm telling everyone now. I'm sorry.
This will come up later.
I know. If you send me a secret cipher, I can still figure it out. I can still write that way. So, like, it was off of sign language. So, like, the little lines are off sign language. So, yeah, no, I admit I had a secret cipher growing up. Yeah, it must be a girl thing.
See, me in my high school, all my friends that did sign language with me, we just talk trash about people in public.
So bad. It's so bad. Okay, let's talk about Paul. I know you've been dying to talk about Paul, Connor.
She writes on her Christmas gifts in a secret cipher. Now I don't know what she's buying. That's a good point. Yes. Alright, Paul. Personally, alright, I don't care about Paul. I never cared about Paul throughout the book. She calls back. Paul's like her dead ex-boyfriend. Mm-hmm. It comes back later in the book that he's dead. I don't care about Paul. Paul's annoying because every time we talk about Paul, we go 10 more minutes before we get back into what I actually care about, which is her talking to people. So she'll be like, Paul's dead. Paul did this. Yada, yada, yada. I need a drink. Next chapter. All right, now I'm going to go talk to more people and the story will progress. So every time I heard Paul, I knew that we were coming to a slow part in the book, and it drove me insane.
It must be a guy thing, because I'm sitting there thinking, oh God, poor Paul. What happened to Paul? Oh, did she shoot Paul?
There was not a moment where I worried about Paul. I was like, when she was like, Paul's dead, I was like, oh thank God, he won't come back later.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. What did you think about Paul?
So I mean, she did mention Paul quite a bit. But it, to me, like, I don't know how many spoilers we're giving away, but like as the story kind of progressed towards the end, you kind of started to get why she got into it. Because the other detective is constantly asking her, why do you do this? Why do you go after these people when, you don't know them, you have no connection to them or anyone? And she seems like this really disconnected person, but Paul is like this only thing that she has that's kind of connecting like the past and the present, like why she's doing it. So as they develop the story about Paul, you kind of understand why she does this, that she has this kind of guilt complex to how his story ended.
It's almost like she wants to prove herself to Paul because she couldn't prove herself. Did you just do the loser sign?
No, I scratched my head.
I thought you did the loser sign.
I get what you're saying. She wants to say, I could have saved Paul, so I couldn't save Paul, so I'm saving these other people. And I'm kind of honoring Paul, and I'm also treating my alcoholism, all right? You get that. Don't care about him.
Jeez Louise.
I just don't.
Okay, so Paul's not Connor's.
Paul's next.
Paul's next. Okay.
What's the cat's name?
Piper.
Piper should have killed Paul.
Piper should have killed Paul. Okay, I've been dying to ask you. I guess that's not so good to say. I've been wanting to ask you about the Death of Deke. What did you think? Okay, so Deke is this tall, thin man who wears lots of chains, and she plants him in the beginning of the book, so you kind of know he's there, and you're thinking, is he the bad guy or is he not the bad guy? And he ends up being the half brother of one of there's actually two missing teenagers in the book, and the second girl's name started with an L.
Things like Lila.
Lydia.
Thank you. So I was wondering, what did you think of when Deke died in her arms in the alleyway?
And they made him like he didn't really want to do this.
Yes.
I liked that he didn't really want to do that because it made him seem like he was pressured into it,
Caught up in it.
and it didn't make it. It made it make more sense instead of being like, okay, because he was in prison for armed robbery, and then it came out, and it made it a lot more sense than like, hey, I just got out of prison, I'm gonna steal my sister, I'm gonna abduct her and her friend, and I'm gonna make her do stuff. It made it a lot more sense where he was wrapped into it, and his sister just had a set of skills that he needed, and that it wasn't really going through him.
Okay.
Yeah, so that made a lot more sense to me than just the brother coming out and being like, all right, sister's in high school now. I checked my watch to see how old she was. And now I can abduct her because now she has use. It made a lot more sense to me.
Oh, that's just terrible to think that a brother would do that.
Yeah, so that's why it made a lot more sense to
Yeah.
me that he was dragged into it rather than the person behind it.
Yeah, I liked how Lisa took him from a bad character to a character that you had sympathy for.
Yeah, he wasn't a good character. He wasn't.
Yeah.
You weren't like, way to go. His name's
Yeah.
Deke, right?
Deke, yeah.
Yeah, way to go, Deke. No,
You
were,
shot at people.
You were like, you still kind of suck, Deke, but
But at the end,
you did.
at
you
the
did
end,
bad.
he came through,
Yeah.
right?
You did a bad thing
He
for
tried
an okay
to come
reason.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I kind of felt the same way. There was I always had doubt that he was actually the one that was the one who had like kidnapped them and that was hurting his sister. I don't know why, I just had doubt. But yeah, I mean, kind of like Connor said, I thought that it was just a moment where you had sympathy for him, in a way, even though he had also done some kind of awful things.
Yeah. Well, all I could think when he's dying, I mean, Deke is dying, okay? He's dying in her arms. He's bleeding out. Blood's coming out of his mouth. He's, bubbles, and he's telling her this whole story. And all I'm thinking is, stop telling the story. Call 911.
Yeah.
Can we save this boy?
Well, she
Is
had to
he
get out a flip
savable?
phone.
I mean, I didn't understand why she didn't call 911, and she let him die in the alley, and then she left him there.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand she had to go save the girl
All right.
and the little boy, but all I could think of was Connor's probably thinking, oh well, you could have done this, this, and this.
No. Here's what I was thinking, okay? Because she's seen that Deke's dying. Deke's telling his story.
Uh-huh.
And then she talks about Paul.
I know.
And then I was like,
Oh God, Paul again.
what? Deke's dying. Can't we talk about Deke for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, but it was like PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care about it.
Well, there were a lot of moments though for me where I was like, how come she hasn't called 911?
Yeah.
There were a lot of what were you gonna say?
When Deke was in like the alley
Yeah.
and he was like
Yeah.
sketching her out,
Yeah.
she was like, I shouldn't call Detective Lotham.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why should you not call Detective Lotham?
But there were so many moments, and I think they really hype up the fact, and I don't know, I guess my mind is really realistic, but they really hype up the fact that she's not the police. She's not, and a private investigator. She's just a regular person. And I don't know, I think that to some extent, like, she's overestimating her abilities to handle situations. But there were several moments where she was in bad situations, and I'm just like, why didn't you?
Yeah.
Like, you're friends with the detective, just call him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He slept in your bed. Why are you not calling him? He knows your cat. He loves Piper.
Piper does not love him.
I know. Piper does not love him. Okay. The bad guy. Okay, well, I definitely ruled out that the bad guy was the cat. And then I thought it was the kid with the gold necklaces, Deke, because she planted him in straight away. Then I thought it was Charlie from AA.
I never thought it was Charlie. That's interesting.
I thought, because really authors or writers tend to plant who it is early in the story. And they try to put that person in almost like as an afterthought that the reader skims over, and then they go, oh my God, he's been here since the beginning when you find it out.
Yeah.
So then I thought it was Charlie, and then I thought it was Frederick from the center because he just seemed like such a little butt. I didn't like him. Then I thought it was the teacher, and then I thought it was Charlie again. I thought, oh, it's going to be Charlie, and she's trusted him, and she's brought him into her inner circle, and it's Charlie, right? But then I got tired of guessing, and I just let her tell me the story. What did you guys think it was? Did you have any guesses along the way?
I mean, I had a couple. I actually thought it was the teacher for a little bit because there were some points when they were talking to him where I kind of took him as being a little bit defensive. And so he was someone who I had, and then also he kind of went out of his way to say we can't print those types of IDs, like with the
The real IDs?
Though the IDs, the counterfeiting. Like he was like, my machine won't do that. We don't have the ink for it. I know what all it would do, but we don't have that. And it just seemed like he had reasons for everything, but turns out he was a good guy.
Yeah, yeah. How about you?
I had to rule out Piper just because it's hard for her to do marketing to get those other bad guys in with her.
Yeah. She's kind of short, she was handling the mice, so,
Yeah,
how much can a cat
she already
really
runs
do?
a different gang.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's think. For a little bit, I was worried about their community rep, was O'Shaughnessy.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like he would have been a really good one to kind of like sneak through, just because he
Knew the family.
Knew Deke, because he went to prison. He knew JJ, so he knew that family. He knows how to counterfeit. He has people that can watch over him. PIs to tell him what's going on. I felt like that would have been
a good one.
Yeah. But I'm glad it was what was his name? He starts with an F. Francis.
Frederic.
I like that it was Frederic, because he knew him and he could understand what they were capable of. He was like I know that this person can do X, Y, and Z, and I know that this person can do X, Y, and Z, and if I really want to put them together, I could do that.
Well, I have to tell you, I feel that I am a very tough girl. At least I used to be in my younger years. I was a tough little cookie. But when she took that bat to those men, I thought, holy crap, she's gonna. I mean, if you murder them, now you're in trouble. I mean, she.
To the kidnappers.
Okay, I understand you got to. Okay, I understand you got to stop them so they don't get you. But oh my God, I thought she's gonna crack their melon straight open.
Good for her.
I was
like, all right. I'm like, I was the complete opposite. I was like, hit him again.
Swing that or swing.
Yeah, try it with golf this time.
I know. Well, actually, in my head, I was like, just a baseball bat.
Yeah. I was like, good for her. Well, they had kidnapped these people for like a year.
I know they're terrible people.
I was definitely hit them.
I wanted her to get them, don't get me wrong.
Turn them into Paul.
I just didn't want brain matter all over the whole hall. Turn them into Paul. Oh my God. Didn't matter. All right. So Deke dies in the alley. Then she's going to the youth center because she knows that's where they are. Where the heck were the cops?
Yeah, during that whole time.
Yeah, I mean, they were at the house. She's behind the house. Where were the cops?
I had that thought that whole entire time. I think, in my head, that Lisa was setting it up, again, to make her be the hero.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And I think that if the cops had been there, she wouldn't have been the hero.
Yeah, you're right.
But also my realistic mind was like, why?
They were like a day late and $1 short for the whole darn book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Oh, okay. We're at the bottom. So let me read some beautiful writing by Lisa Gardner. I like to pick out little snippets from the book that really speak to me. And this one, Frankie's talking. And she says, I'm only me, an average middle-aged white woman with more regrets than belongings, more sad stories than happy ones. And I loved the cadence of more regrets than belongings, more sad stories than happy ones. And then another part is she's talking about Angelique. And Angelique, she says, Angelique disappeared 11 months ago from Mattapan, Boston. Walked out of her school on a Friday afternoon in November. And then, poof, no sighting, no leads, no breaks in the case for 11 whole months. I loved how she goes, no sightings, no leads, no breaks in the case for 11 whole months. I loved that. And then another part, this one has Paul in it, I'm sorry. I'd like to say those women were my free spirit days, I'd like to say that those were my free spirit days, but the truth is, I don't really remember them. It was a rush of drugs and booze and sex, and that I'm alive at all. Paul, he saved me, at least until I grew strong enough to save myself. And I love it. I love a strong woman who can save herself. It's the part I really like. All right. Anything else you'd like to say about the book? Just making sure before we close it up.
Paul.
Yes.
Worst character.
He was dead through the whole book.
There's a reason for that. She knew that he was bad. She couldn't have him for any longer.
And you guys, I'm trying to. Usually Casey runs the book chat and tells me when people are saying things.
No, they're right there.
And okay, there's Lacey. Lacey goes no.
Something.
Oh, and Sue Preston said she loved The Secret Cipher. Casey says, now I know what she's buying. She writes Christmas gifts in her Secret Cipher. Is that where you came from?
Yeah, it's right up there.
How did you see that?
I have my glasses on.
Oh, okay, my fault. I should
Paul,
have.
LOL, thanks, guys.
There you go. All right, we will put you guys' name into the swirly wheel of names, and we'll pick a grand winner and a second winner, and we will give away some books, and I'll put them in the book chat so you know if you've won, and I'll ask you which books you want of my books also. Our next Spill the Tea is June 12th at 2 p.m. Eastern. We moved it up a week because of Father's Day, and we are reading Stranger in the Lake by Kimberly Bell. Go ahead, Miss Vanna. All right. I have to tell you, I had a hard time finding a signed copy of Lisa Gardner's book. I looked everywhere. Finally, and I'll tell you, that signed copy was the most expensive book I've bought in a long time. Trying to find a signed copy of Kimberly Bell, I contacted Kimberly Bell. And I'm telling you, that is so stepping out of my comfort zone. But I contacted her, and she was so nice to send me a signed copy. So I'm super excited. Plus, the classes I've taken, during the COVID year have been peppered with examples of Kimberly Bell's writing. And I think you are going to love this book. There will be no Paul in it.
Oh, awesome.
But most of all, I want to thank everybody for joining me. You're the best. And as always, you'll find me writing on the porch. Everybody say goodbye. Bye for now, guys. Hugs.